So, first day with this thing, I drove it around. I like it. It is an ATV that you get to sit down in and drive with a steering wheel. And it's only one seat, which is actually very smart because I am not entirely sure how anybody who has one of these hasn't flipped it over. Because unlike an ATV, you can't lean into it, so you're a little bit limited. Also, it is a 875cc twin with a CVT. It'll be pretty fast, but it is all-wheel drive. So what I'm gonna do today, the first thing I want to do on this is, it was supposedly having some noise from the front differential, which I've already tested up on the lift. It's definitely probably got no fluid in it. But what I want to make sure is that the all-wheel drive system works. I have to figure out how it's going to engage if the back wheels are slipping. Now, some people I know have told me, oh, just grab the front tire or try to block up the front tires while it's on the lift or something. I'm gonna do one a little bit better than that. Four-wheel drive kicks in the front tires. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm going to put it in gear and see if it'll pull itself off of a jack. Luckily, it's not gonna hurt me. I don't have far to go. It's not gonna fall very far. So there's my jack. So let's start this thing up, pop it into two-wheel drive and just see if it spins the rear wheels. If it spins the rear wheels, then we're gonna put it in four-wheel drive. Let's see what happens. We're gonna first start it up. Start slow. Put it high. I'll put it in. Now it's in all-wheel drive. Let's see if it pulls it off. Let's try high. Just for kicks. Interesting. Let's try reverse. Alright. Try it back even low. Woo! So it's clearly working. I want to watch the footage and see how the wheels look like they were spinning, because it definitely hasn't come off of the jack, which probably means I just slid my jack on my nice floor a whole lot, but it's kind of what I wanted to happen. Oh yeah, we left some nice little tire marks there. I'm gonna show you guys those skid marks. So my front diff does work. It's just not ideal. So I think I need to check it and make sure that there's fluid in it, that we've got smooth action. I think I bought the right part to swap out the center section of it, but I need to tear it apart, or at least see if I can drain it, see what comes out, investigate it. But I do have working front or all-wheel drive, so that's good to know. I need to try to get these scrape marks off before Billy comes back in. Oh yeah. Let's just just sleep those under the rug right there. Well, I guess no time better than the present. We're gonna start tearing this apart. I already got the old seat belts. Somebody had cut because they put some racing belts in there, so we don't need this garbage anymore. I just took it out of the way. That's actually when I discovered that under the cup holder right here is the battery. So you're sitting on top of the battery right there. There's a whole bunch of stuff going to it. Mainly what I want to do right now is start taking the plastics off of this. That way I'm only dealing with bare metal. So I already got the seat out of there for the most part. It is still tied in, obviously, to the top. I was able to fix this, at least I think I did so far. This was your seat lock, and it was bent, looked like somebody had stepped on it, never fixed it. But I know that I need to get this floor pan out so that I can look at the differential. Anyway, gas tank is right under here if you ever need to replace the fuel pump. It's right there. This looks to be our vent. We've got our shifter in neutral right now. There's a whole bunch of bolts that he gave me with all of this. Notice how everything locks together. But this floor pan goes underneath the pedals. And I didn't put it back with anything, so it's out of there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but right there is the front differential. That's what I would like to try to remove, because I know that it's in need of some help. But I want to look at everything first. So he said he replaced, yep, he replaced the CV, or the U-joints. Looks like the bearing might still be pretty messed up for the differential, but I'm not too worried about that. Behold, my first round of parts that I'm just throwing at this thing. Now, if you've ever had something like this before and you've never taken the time to look and see if maybe it might just wiggle all over the friggin' place, you might end up never noticing that all of these little bushings, or at least most of them, have grease fittings on them, or if they don't, they'll have like a little bushing in here between where the bolt goes through and the actual control arm that's made out of plastic, and that wears out. So this first round of parts, here we go. Here's what we've got. We've got, this is for the rear, is by All Balls Racing, rear independent knuckle side kit 50-1217. So I know for a fact that this is for the rear, which I wish I would have had this the other day. It wasn't quite here yet. I've got 2 of those sets that'll cover me in the rear, at least for the upper and lower control arms where they bolt to the knuckle. Then what we've got right here, we've got our front tie rod end kit. I don't know if this is specific for this one. I'm gonna find out as we go, but it looks to be the same part. And then I've got 2 of these sets of Chinesium High Sport. They're gonna be the long rubber bushings. They look like they're about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches long. So I'm gonna see where those go. I'm pretty sure those go in the rear, in the control arm side, where the control arm goes to the body. Then we've got a pack of, it said a pack of 36 front bushings. I'm going to find out where these go as I go through it. These may or may not fit this specific model, but I'm pretty sure they do. And then our last piece of the puzzle right here that I would like to see, us actually get into replacing this. This is Javik Motorsports differential parts, YH253-JK. Theoretically, this is the center section of the front differential. I don't think it's got a bearing. Somehow it's a limited slip of some sort or something. We're gonna find out when we tear it apart. But that was the most expensive of these pieces. This one was $65. The rest of this stuff can be had for 20-30 bucks, so, or less. So obviously, when you're shopping on Amazon, make sure you thoroughly verify that what you're buying looks like what you've got and says that it fits what you got. There's a lot of stuff that says it fits what you got and it doesn't, and there's a whole lot of things that doesn't say it fits it, but you definitely know that it does when you get it and try it. So just be careful out there. So we're gonna try to start putting these things on. I'm gonna start with the bushings. Alright guys, so I was able to get this bushing out of this side. These ones right here, which were the ones that came from High Sport Racing, they're part number X003I8E29H. Those ones, or whatever those part numbers are that you might be able to see right there. Anyway, they're the ones that when you search on Amazon, they look like this. They're 3 or 4 inches long. Those are the ones that do go in your front lower control arm. There is no front upper control arm because it's McPherson strut. First, you'll need to take the 2 14mm bolts out, which they screw in and out of this metal bushing right here. But then the hard part and the fun part, actually, this is the new bushing. That was the old bushing. As you can see, they are not very easy to get out of there. What I ended up having to do was I had to get a set of pliers, these pliers actually, and get in here and grab as far down as I could get on the inside of that bushing with the bottom jaw on just the rubber of the bushing, probably like this, until I pulled it over a little bit. Yeah, so what I was talking about was I was grabbing it like this and then prying like that, which actually has worked to the point where I can start doing this. Before I did that, I stuck this very long screwdriver all the way down here, felt in 4 different spots around the end. It's basically top, bottom, left, and right. Felt where it was and hammered it in there until it was flush like this, just to break it loose, and then I sprayed a bunch down in there. And now this thing is slowly coming out. Boiler! All done. Okay, now I can start the easy part of reassembling this. Those were not as fun as I thought they would be. I have a feeling that's how the rest of the thing's gonna go too. Welcome back to day 2, guys, of working on the Polaris Ace 900. Today, I have more parts that have arrived. So what I would like to accomplish today is to finish at least rebuilding the front suspension. Yesterday I was able to get the lower control arm bushings out, replaced them, greased them a little bit, and put it back together because I thought I was going to have to move it around. Turns out I didn't, but also it was just too hot. These last few weeks have just been super hot. So today, while I'm on the front suspension, I would like to at least also replace these ball joints. Now these ball joints these are of course from All Balls Racing, which is hilarious. It is part number 42-1030, and I hope that it is correct for our particular machine. So now we've got more to add to our growing pile of parts. Let's see if we can get this thing, get the front end back together, or rebuilt. This is getting to be a little bit involved. The good thing is that we are slowly tightening this up, and let me show you what I mean. So this is the side that I just did the lower control arms on yesterday. They don't rattle quite nearly as much, and this is with the other ball joint still in it. Now that ball joint's obviously not completely bad, but it's still a little bit bad. You can still see there's a little bit of play. On this side, we haven't done the bushings yet, and it's a lot more play. So I just wanted to stop and point something out that I noticed, and it's another thing that I understand. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that is catering towards what people would call my generation, which is millennials, and you know, some of the other generations before and after. But I think it's funny because a lot of parts that come from Amazon or eBay or whatever, we always call them Chinesium. But I like the little references they come up with their names, because a lot of them, their names are just not, they just come up with whatever name they can think of. Well, this wheel spacer is a Dragon Ball wheel spacer, and it's got the Shenron Dragon from Dragon Ball. I gotta give them credit, you know, if I'm gonna buy a wheel spacer for any reason in particular, I'm probably just gonna buy whichever one that is cheapest. But if it says Dragon Ball on it, I'm gonna buy it. So thanks, guys. Thanks for catering directly to me on something I really don't need. Sometimes you just be looking for a 12 and you just can't find your 12, so you're just gonna go ahead and assume it's a 13, and it is a 13. So guess it's not a 12 and it doesn't really matter. Well, it was a Honda thing anyway. Honda and some Mazdas. Let this guy dangle over here. Oh, yeah, that is delicious. delicious goof. Okay. There's our front wheel. See you guys right there. Oh man, it's funny to me. It's so hot in here. The camera's actually having temperature issues. So maybe if we just unpinch the actual shock part, because this is actually a pinch. Now that I look at it. Okay. That's what we're tentatively going to try. Maybe we will get lucky and it will just flop out of there. Guys, you wouldn't believe it, but we're in Michigan. Like, my issue is usually it's too cold out here for me to feel my hands. But right now I am literally just dripping sweat. Getting a little bit much. So this is our knuckle. We're looking at it from the bottom side. Obviously that ball joint is still bad. Now what, I'm not entirely sure about this, but we're gonna find out as we go. But it looks like there are 2 screws right here and a plate. That plate probably holds that in. Those screws are held in with this small Allen. So 4mm just barely fits in there. Also, you gotta remember this thing is completely caked full of mud. I'm also just gonna give it a light little tap. Oh, there we go. I'm starting to stroke out a little bit. Nothing to be alarmed about. There we go. So then this comes off. That's a little retainer. Look at all that corrosion. Anytime you get dissimilar metals, you get this weird white oxidation corrosion. If you can see it on there. But that's a steel plate. Day 3 of working on the Ace. So, yesterday, I was not able to remove this ball joint from that knuckle, but today we have a tool. This is the tool that you will find on the Jungle website, or whatever you want to call it, Bezos Net, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, this is the one you'll find. This is the one you'll find when you search for ball joint removal tool Polaris, or Polaris Ace. With this tool, this ball joint removal tool, you're gonna thread it down most of the way till there's a little bit of a gap. You're gonna leave enough room for this to go up through the hole and for you to get the threads of this started. 24mm, perfect. So you're gonna turn this backwards. You're definitely gonna have to hold this thing to pull every little inch out of there, but that's how the tool is actually designed. So that right there is what's supposed to happen. The entire tool came out. Now I just have to get this thing off of here, but anyway, that is an awesome tool. I am very glad whoever violated copyright on that particular tool did that. So thank you, person who's probably in jail in another country right now. Woo! So, if you have ever needed a reason to replace a ball joint, and I mean like you really just didn't think it was a good idea, didn't need it, it's alright, it'll be fine. This is one of those it'll be fine moments that doesn't work. So, this right here, this is how, when I go up and down, this is how a ball joint should be. There's literally no movement right there. This one, however, that is what, 8 years? Literally since the factory. This thing has never been replaced. I mean, that looks like something that I can't particularly talk about on the air. I mean, I'm impressed how bad this is. Look at the hole. Look at the hole in the back. This one has a piece of plastic or something. This one has literally worn a hole through the back. Replace your ball joints. Check your ball joints. Check your suspension. This thing is going to steer so much better. I'm pumped to drive this thing when we're done with it. Now when I say that this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen or done, you know what? The response would be that you're right, it is pretty dumb, but it's working. The big problem I'm like with just going ahead and pressing this in with like normal is that this obviously is closed on the bottom, but this flat spot that's in here only goes to halfway under. So if you press it, you're coming at a weird angle. But then you've got the fact that I have no other way of clamping it. So what I ended up doing was putting this jack in here, and it goes across the bar that's on the floor. At first it started lifting this, but then it started pressing against that bar. So this jack is holding this side. We've got that bearing right there being supported by that, and I am noticing that it appears to have leaked down. So, but we're gonna watch this thing, and it's gonna go right in there. It's so dumb, but you know what? Some of the dumbest things will get you through, get you by, and this is one of the fun parts about working on stuff, is that you get to get creative and think about how you're gonna solve something. And this was one of those things where I didn't have the tool. So that tool that I ordered, the one I ordered was just the one for removing. Apparently there's another one for installing that I didn't get in my kit. So voila, that is done. So now I know how to do it when I get to the next one. Sometimes you just gotta come up with some dumb crap. But we got it. Okay, so I got the CV shaft axle, CV axle. Okay, so I got the CV axle out of there. So we're gonna finish taking the differential out of there so I can do a little bit of a rebuild on it. Okay, after much struggle and a whole bunch of zip ties that I had to cut, and 4 bolts and 2 CV axles, I have the front differential out. For those of you wondering about the part number for the front differential, well, I can't get it to focus, but it's model 1333375. So it looks like it is bone dry. I haven't tried to drain it, but I'm gonna guess that this thing is just completely done. So I need to figure out, I need to start taking this thing apart, and I might even take it over and wash it. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and drain this and see if anything comes out. The way they design it, this is a captive hole. It doesn't get lubricated. That's also why all the CVs on the entire vehicle are able to be very sloppy, because they don't have to seal, they go into a type of cup. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead. I already popped the fill tube open to make sure that it would open. But we're gonna go ahead and drain whatever comes out of here. Me and Billy have already concluded that this is most likely an electric clutch, because the unit that I've got waiting on the table over there to replace the center section doesn't directly drive the axles. There's no, it's only through some sort of friction. And I mean, as you guys saw in the video I took the other day, this thing pulled itself right along on the floor. So there's definitely a good amount of magnet or metal on that magnet. Let's see if anything comes out, and no. Nope, it is 100% dry. I can look in there and see how dry it is. It's nothing. So I don't even know if that's magnetic. Well, some of it is, but some of it is just mud. This one's gonna be fun. Bing, bing, bing. That looks like a T30. we're gonna grab our 230. Woo! Scared me. I'm gonna take these out. You know what? I'm gonna do this with a wrench because I'm quickly learning not to be an idiot around here. There's a lot of stuff happening here. This is what's in there. It does look like it's the right size. Man, I'm glad I bought that. I was worried that wasn't going to be the right thing.
Yeah, it's set down some.
Oh man, that is no bueno. So
It's dry and full of mud.
let's show you before and after what we're putting back in. So that's definitely a good thing we're doing it. This is nothing but rust and mud, and this thing needs it pretty bad. This is the other side. So it appears that this is all like a clutch pack type thing, like you would find in, you know, a regular clutch. So this is definitely an electric clutch, and it probably squeezes together because these are your two output shaft parts, and they are just completely independent of each other. So my guess is that in here is a unit that grabs that pack together, and that's how it does its front wheel engagement. So that's why it was able to pull itself forward the other day, but today I couldn't spin it using just the CV axles. So I'm going to try to pull the rest of this out of here. Jesus.
It's a ring gear.
Well, it was. My God. Now I definitely understand why he said it was making noise, quote unquote. All of these bearings in here are pretty bad. So I need to do a nice cleaning before we fully reassemble it all. Here's the other side of that centerpiece. That one just came right out.
There's a little pinion in there.
Yep. Cute little pinion.
That's loose.
Yeah, I don't think anything on this ATV is particularly tight. I feel like that's by intention. Oh man, day 4. We are, day 4, day 3? I don't remember. Anyway, so today on Randy Billy Garage, trying to finish this up. So we got the diff out yesterday. I will stick a picture in there of what it looked like, at least the center section compared to the new one. So we got the diff out, took it apart. The parts have been soaking overnight in some purple power or whatever I had. They are ready to be rinsed off. I need to figure out what oil I should put in this differential rather than just sending it. But you know what? Anything, if I can't figure it out, anything is better than what it had, which was nothing, but it had a little bit of mud in there. So I guess mud might lubricate. Probably not very well. Probably actually acts as an abrasive. So I'm gonna wait to do the differential because that is just gonna be a reassemble after I rinse everything. I will do the differential after I finish dealing with this ball joint. Now that I know that I don't have the right bearings for the front, I don't have to press that out, which is good, which is very good, because there is a race, the inner race from this front wheel bearing is stuck on this hub. As you guys can see right there, it is this piece, it's stuck on there. I'm sure I could get it off, but I'm not worried about it because I don't have replacement bearings. So I'm gonna take it one step at a time, but all I have to do on this other hub is press out and then press in, fix the lower ball joint. So let's get to it. So just to reiterate, and this isn't a product placement at all, I just really like these. 41-3022 is the part number, and as far as I know, this will fit any Polaris Ace front end for the ball joints, and they're really good so far. They come with everything. So, but anyway, shout out to All Balls Racing. I was pretty happy with the price of everything. Nothing was overly expensive. Okay, so it's a 24 millimeter. We're just gonna use Bertha right here. I just want to reiterate the importance of getting a good night's rest, because I clearly haven't. Today is what you refer to as Struggle City. It's just one of those days. There we go, never mind. Yeah, make sure you take that plate off before you try to pull this ball joint out of here. Crusty stuff all over the place. Oh my gosh, it's all over the place. I'm getting so much garbage in my wheel bearing that I have to keep. Shazam! Okay, all done. That is a very useful tool. I'm very happy with that tool. Guys, I'm super pumped. Quick break from our video, but we just got some stickers. They are glossy. I've only got 100 of them and a bunch of them are accounted for, but if you want one or you want us to make a big order so that you guys can purchase them, please comment down below and let us know. Say that you want some stickers. But they are sweet and they're easy peel. The only thing is they took a very long time to get here, but that's okay. I'm super happy with them. So back to the video. Today on Randy Billy Garage, I'm hoping to finish this, which I keep saying, but I want to show you guys something first. I had a moment of weakness yesterday, and in the middle of trying to get the ATV thing back together, I accidentally made a little purchase. This trailer is in a lot better condition right now than the one that Billy bought a few months ago. It is basically ready to go. There's just a few things I need to check up on it, mainly the electrical. I also need to go get it titled and get one of the forever plates or whatever it is. But this thing ought to work great. It is the right size. It doesn't weigh much of anything. It's just a basic little trailer, and that should work perfect. So yesterday I had to cut things a little bit short out of nowhere. I didn't really expect to just get up and leave, but it was a good deal and I had to go get it then. So luckily the gentleman was very nice and very easy to work with, and I was able to suggest the channel to him. He said he'd take a look at it. So cool guy, had some cool stuff there. So anyway, we're back on this thing. It is Friday. Billy is supposed to be getting his Mustang started here soon. We were finally able to clear up our backlog for just a couple weekends of cars, and now we need to start on Billy's car. He wants to get it so that he can actually drive it. We're not going to follow through on the engine swap and everything, but we're going to do some just whatever other small stuff he wants to do. So I have to get this thing off the lift. Sam's coming over to work on editing the build bio that we made on his car, so I got to get to work on this thing. I'm going to put that diff back together. So here we go. So this is what we've got after 2 or 3 days of sitting. I think it's been 2 days. This is, we just used Purple Power, basically dumped all that we had in there, topped it off with a whole bunch of water, and it's definitely going to be clean. So I'm going to pull these out and rinse them off on the pavement, or concrete. Alright, one thing I want to point out, those of you that are watching this saying, oh man, that thing came apart and went together easy, it's going to work great. Well, it might work for a while, but I can almost guarantee you, just solely based on this right here. So I already found that one thing missing from this seal, or maybe it was this seal, one of the two. Guarantee the other one's going to end up having an issue too. But just looking at this right here, I can see past that seal on this input shaft that is just able to move all around. I don't have a lot of hope for this differential, so I'm probably going to end up buying a replacement differential, but I'm going to go ahead and get this one together. I mean, this bearing is just, it feels like I'm turning it in sand. It's bad. We're going to put it back together and see if it even holds fluid. If I put whatever amount of fluid this thing needs in it and it holds it, then great. If I put it in there and it just starts draining out, then I will simply not park it over pavement that I care about, or I won't drive it, or I'll just go ahead and order a replacement and wait until it gets here. But for now, we're gonna stick it together and just see if it works. Maybe we're lucky in all these seals. Maybe they do seal. This one though, I mean, there's really not much hope. I guess I could take it out there and see if spraying water leaks past it, but this thing's pretty much toast. I mean, it's been run dry and it's had mud get into it. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys a quick little problem here. But Sam showed up. What up? So I was thinking about this and looking at that seal, and I know that it's not in particularly great shape, but I noticed that if I set it up like this and I just spray some WD-40 on the top here, it's just going down inside. It ends up draining straight down in there. Yeah, those seals aren't gonna work. So I ordered a seal set. Yeah, see this down in here, this WD-40 mostly. I ordered a seal set just now on Amazon. That's not gonna get here till Wednesday. So until then, we're gonna stick it back together anyway. And then when I get it, I will either tear it apart, replace all the seals, or I'll replace the whole front diff. But for now, we're just gonna put it back together so that we can get this thing back driving. All right, so I'm gonna try to do this from memory. I remember it wasn't particularly confusing, but I'm gonna try to remember. So this obviously is our, so this will be your pinion, this will be our ring gear type thing. I've got all those bearings back in there. I'm gonna take this, drop it down inside, make sure it meshes with that ring gear. So that works right there. And now, I mean, it was pretty simple. You just take this center section. I'm hoping that the bearing slides down into the bottom all right down there. You just take the center section. Oh, you know what? I don't think that's gonna go. I think this came out after this. Or at least it might have. Can't really remember. So let's see, maybe put this one in here. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. And I think this went in like there, like that. This goes back on top. And then got to line up this part. That looks right. Alright, run the bolts through and hope that it at least works a little bit better now that it doesn't have mud inside of it. And then I will just rebuild it when I get the, or not rebuild it, but put new seals in it when I get them. That works. Alright, we're going to stop screwing around here. We're going to put it in. Alright guys, I got the diff back in there. I mean, it wasn't that much of a struggle. I got the roll pin through the drive shaft and I put some fluid in it. It's supposed to take some kind of special unicorn juice fluid. I just put 75 W90, whatever I had. This thing is on its last leg anyway, so I don't really care. It's better than having nothing, although I'm sure every single bit of it is going to leak out of the input area for the pinion. So, ooh, Something nice.
We're going to check that out.
Yeah. Just kidding. Me and Sam just saw a really cool car next door somewhere. Billy got his Civic all cleaned up. It looks fantastic. And we fixed his power steering. Looks like
old Dodge van.
oh, that's that Dodge van. Damn, that thing sounded good.
Yeah.
Sounded like a modular Ford. Pretty sweet.
That's its wings back.
Yeah, wing wang's back. It's beautiful. Look at that man just looking at his car. Oh, that was a good one.
Oh God. God.
Wow.
Damn.
That was something else. All right, she's back on the ground.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
Back up, Terry. Make sure it's in park. All the way down. There you go.
That would help.
Alright guys, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time on Randy Billy Garage. Sam's getting all figured out. Sam's gonna do an all-wheel drive launch.